All right, Vas, I'm sure many people want to know the ins and outs of how we decided to and built this online cave series. I mean, what did it take from us? How did we go about the logistics?
Yeah.
Was it just something we thought out of thin air? And, was it something we put a lot of time
We know
into?
we wanted to make it, and why, we wanted obviously to improve the quality of cave training. You wanted to make sure that students were better prepared. And so what better way of doing that than, of course, filming a whole range of cave training so that you can show people at various levels, what actually happens on cave training. So we knew that we wanted to do it. We knew that we would probably want to show some different caves, some different locations, and I think we earmarked around 3 or 4 countries to visit. Then it was really a case of saying, well, look, if we're going to do it, we need to really have the two of us live all of the time so that when one of us is working, the other one's able to capture more of it. So we had to worry about when we're available, where we could go, where we could travel. Then, of course, we want to get a handful of students who want to take part in it. And, of course, the divers are doing, a normal or a regular cave program, at least the way that we would teach it.
Yeah, of course.
But we wanted them to be happy with what they were doing. We wanted them to say, well, look, we're going to put you on camera, right? We're going to put you on film. You're going to hopefully probably get at least better training than you get somewhere else. You've got the two of us training you, independently, let's say. So it was a little bit like, searching for people that were happy, that could take the time out, that had the time to do the program. And I think also because of the way that we view the cave, we didn't want to do a short minimum course. We wanted to make sure that we had enough time. So for us, that was a 10-day program for the people that were new to cave diving and wanted to go all the way through. And for the existing cave divers, it was going to be a 5-day cave program.
Yes.
So, we could describe, if you like, who we thought would work well for the training. So we had some posts on social media, some on Facebook, Instagram.
And we did get a lot of requests, didn't we?
Well, that was the surprise, right? How many responses we had, how many people were happy to take part. So I think we sat down and we looked through some people that we knew before, some people that were newer to diving. And it was interesting to see where they were in the world. And also some of them had already had cave training. Yes,
that was the most shocking, wasn't it? So they'd taken a full cave training course already certified, and said we want to join. There was actually a lot of them. And we were kind of like, maybe we should have ran another program for those ones. But we couldn't accept any of those because actually we wanted to have people who've never trained in caves before. That was part of it, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, if we were going to show, what life is like for, that typical life cycle from never having been into a cave and thought about, what's involved. But I don't rule out going and doing a top-up for the people that maybe we could then look at what they had done before and what we might do differently. So finding the people was one thing, and then really there's a bunch of logistics that then go around that, aren't there?
Many,
You're going to coordinate the dates, you're going to coordinate, where people are coming from, how they're going to get to and from the airports and to where we're staying.
Accommodation,
So the places that we knew we were staying at, we've been to many times before, and so you can recommend where they stay. Should it be this kind of apartment? What's going to work really? So you send a lot of information out. We have an information pack. I think it runs to around 10 pages now, something like that. And then, of course, as the time approaches, you're sending more information that's more specific and more relevant to the trip that they're going to make. So who takes dollars and should you take a Visa card? And,
and also about equipment. A lot of people were saying, I've got this piece of equipment, I've got this, was that okay? Is that, and then even pictures of the equipment, right? And
I mean, there's a full questionnaire they have to fill out, right? Where they talk about their dive experience, they talk about their certification levels, they're talking about what equipment they've got. And of course, we have to vet that. And then what we've got to come up with is recommendations for what else they might need.
Sure, and to be fair, a lot of the people, we tried to be fair with how much experience they had and how many dives they had and how they would take. We didn't just pick the best of the best and all that kind of stuff. We just did the people who got in touch earlier, we certainly tried to get them involved, because for me it's first come, usually first serve, and then afterwards, we can look at what else we had.
But you're right about the dive experience part, because we had to match it per course as well. You know, you wanted to have divers that weren't too dissimilar as they were going through, because otherwise it's a little bit unfair, I thought. But yeah, once we're all sort of lined up and set up, of course we travel. We probably went about a week in advance to each place.
Yeah.
Got happy, got comfortable, got set up. But I think the whole time that's happening, you know, we're basically, I always imagine how they make movies in Hollywood, right? We're basically having to write not the script for what we're going to say, but what we'd like to achieve each day.
Yeah, that's right.
How we're going to sequence various skills, which sites might work better for various things. So there's a large amount of, you know, kind of planning in that side.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what we did. I mean, what everyone's going to have access to in the online training, when we said we've got this daily format, you can follow it through, or you've got this subject format. So there's two ways of following through on our online cave training course for both intro and full cave. This is pretty much what we did each day, right? This is what we wrote down. It's what we did anyway, but what we've really done is gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, if you like, and we've decided that this is the ideal we'd like to accomplish each day. Now, of course, in reality, you get obstacles like the site closing a bit earlier than you expected, or the divers needing a little bit more time doing in the open water before they could move on. So not every day we got everything done we wanted to, but what we did is we certainly moved that on to the next day. And this is why it's good to have a program where you've got extra days to sort of soak up the slack, because if you had a customer who we didn't but missed a day from sickness or something else, what we don't want it to do is affect the overall outcome.
No, that's right.
You know, there's a good chance they would still be able to pass and achieve the level they want.
I mean, it's a good point to make that actually, when we normally run training programs, we have the outline, you know, in our minds. We know where we need to go and what we need to do. But when you have to write all of that down and be very specific and say what is in the first session, what is in the second session, that's actually a much harder task than you might do. So any instructors, if you're going to write down, you know, minute by minute or hour by hour what's in your training plan, that's a bit of a task, really. I think when we started, though, it was a lot of fun. What I really enjoy about that is on the days that you are the instructor, of course, you're having that very direct conversation with the divers. It's you that's building the connection with them. Everyone's there together. And it's a bit like, well, we don't know what we're going to find. We don't know how that's going to go. But you'd already spoken to everyone. You already felt that you knew them a little bit. And it feels like you're doing something different now, because you've got this fly on the wall following you around.
Absolutely. And the other thing here, you'll like this bit, is that people are going to ask us, well, did you not feel under pressure as an instructor? So that, meaning, like, I'm now instructing the two guys, you're the ghost or the person who's now videographer recording it all, and you're sort of a fly on the wall around us. The answer to that is no. And it's not just because I know you. It wouldn't really matter who came in, to be totally honest. You know, I'm glad it was you, but if it was somebody else, it would have been okay. Why? Because this is what instructors should think about. When you're in front of students, you are live all the time. Just because there's no camera doesn't mean there's not. You understand? You're live. That's the interpretation. So this is something I would say to any new instructors or any level of instructor, is that, well, when you do things, you should think like that all the time. Like, there shouldn't be this pressure. I understand when there's a light or camera in your face, you might think differently, but for us, it's normal, isn't it?
No, but I mean, you're right to say that. I mean, there's a certain confidence that you need to have about what you're doing. I totally understand when you're newer to teaching, you're not going to be as smooth, you're not going to be as fluid, let's say. But once you believe in what you're doing, and once you've seen that this gets results, this is working, customers are getting what they need to have from it, and you believe in what it is that you're doing. And I think when you're at that point, you're right, you don't really mind who's around. You know, I mean, you know, we've been at sites doing land drill, and someone will just come up and listen.
That's right,
you know, and you know, you're not going to tell them to go away, right?
No,
just, you know, come and join in, this sort of thing. So, you know, in terms of that sort of daily structure, it was very entertaining, especially as you switch roles from day to day. You know, it was a tough schedule, that's for sure. You know, if you take times where you're spending a lot of time driving to sites in some cases, when you find that you need to do more work maybe in the mornings, more work in the evenings, And then I think for us, well, of course, when we're finishing our day, let's not talk about going to the gym. People maybe don't need to know that part. But, we have to go and do some video review now. We've got a review of what we saw that day and what we might want to show to the divers.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, we've got to categorize that stuff, right?
That's the outside thing that people don't really see. I mean, we go and eat, right? And of course, it's tacos. I mean, there's nothing else to eat.
Right.
That's what well, there is, but that's what we eat. No. And we're sat there and we've already got the cameras out and a tablet out, and we're already previewing things we want to do. And then it doesn't stop, does it? We go home, we do the same. And then I don't think people understand quite that. I don't know if anyone else is putting as much time in as us. I doubt it. But we've always done this, and I would say the results speak for themselves, because it really goes down well. And in the past, I've tried to do it in the same evening. I've sometimes had, like I used to do, have the students stay with me in the accommodation I might be renting or have. And you never get any switch off time there, unless you go to the gym. There's no switch off from the customers, and I think you've got to have a switch off. Everybody else has got that, generally speaking. But what I was doing is trying to video review and snap through the videos quite quickly, but they were live watching.
Yes.
And I don't think that's as effective as what we did. We actually took the time to get the bits we wanted to show them. We already had a little discussion about it. So when we presented that to them, it was very fluid, wasn't it? It was something that was actually kind of rehearsed in a way, you could say. And then they were able to look at what they needed. And a lot of the time we asked if you've got extra questions, and they didn't really. It was just more of a case of let's go and do more of the same.
You are right to say that when we look at what is an 8 to 10 hour training day, well, you might only want to pick out half hour of video, right? And I think the time that we put in to do that, and you're basically making a menu, you're making a highlight reel essentially.
A highlight reel, that's a good way to put it.
Some good stuff, some not so good stuff, and some stuff that's general to discuss and talk about. So you actually, although we spent the time preparing that, when you deliver it, the contact time's now more efficient. You're making their training day more. And I thought what I really enjoyed was if you show that in the morning before the day.
The started, yes.
Now they say, right, okay, this is where it is, this is what I've got to do. It's much more direct for what's coming next of them.
And not just that, a lot of the customers, they sometimes have a perception that they didn't do so well, and some can look quite negative on it, can't they? And I think that certainly when we showed them those videos in the morning, like you said, they perked up, they were like, actually, wow, I'm doing all right. And that really helped, I think, the performance that same day. Yeah,
I mean, I know that we believe in the video feedback, as a general thing. But what I really enjoyed was that as the divers saw themselves changing and progressing, we saw, for example, there were cases on day one where the equipment wasn't particularly well configured.
Yeah.
They see themselves now on day 2, day 3, they are looking much better.
Sure.
And of course, there's a visual thing that's making them feel better about what it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
So you're kind of joining in with their journey, right, as that's happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's fair to say that, because people are going to ask this, I'm sure, why don't more cave instructors work together and do this? And ultimately, what I would say on that is that it's great having 2 different cave instructors. I mean, getting them all the time is brilliant, because you're gaining from different experiences and just different approaches. We have very similar things, but we also have very different ways to talk and approach people, and good cop, bad cop, people call it. It doesn't really matter. It's a different approach sometimes that people need.
Sure.
The reason I think it won't happen though is because just the money involved. Like we do this to make a living as well. We can afford to write off cave courses that people are paying bit two and things, because we're creating an online series that actually is going to help a lot of people and generate some income for us. Other people, it's their livelihood, it's all they're going to do. It's what pays the bills that month. So if they start sharing that with someone, well, it's hard to ask a student to pay double the rates, for a training day. They're just not going to be able to afford it a lot of the time. So I think that's why you don't really see it. I think there is a lot of instructors who may work together or would like to do it.
Sure.
The only time I can say I've worked with other instructors is when it's more that you're not sharing the costs, but you're actually assisting them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's one person taking the money for it.
When we finished I think we spent 5 weeks it was in Mexico, something like that.
Yeah.
We had a short break, and then we headed off to Spain initially for the series. I mean, I like the idea that we travel a little bit to go to the new location, right?
It was great and it was obviously my first time visiting the cave in Spain, and you'd been before.
Yeah, that's right. And where in Mexico, for example, you've got an entrance fee and you've got to drive through the jungle.
Yeah.
The main site in Spain that we used, it's by the roadside. It's easy to park. There's no entrance fee.
No, true.
And it's open all day long.
True. There's no time limit. That's a good point, which helped us a couple of times.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the dive centre and the filling station are 10 minutes away, so that's pretty straightforward. A little bit more work to get in and get out. So there was
the hill.
Was a bit more fitness required.
Yeah.
And of course, at the full cave level where you're switching cylinders between dives, that does get tiring.
No, of course, you've got to, and just taking one cylinder up and down at a time, because, taking two, you can do it, but any slip and then your cave training's over, isn't it?
That's exactly right. But also, the site was very different. Where in Mexico it's predominantly the same temperature. Yeah. Particularly in the freshwater layer, anyway. I mean, this cave it's really interesting.
Crazy different. Same temperature as Mexico, you could say at the surface or similar. And then, once you get past 3, 4, 5 meters, which is pretty much the whole dive then, you've got this, 28, 29 degrees?
Yeah, I was touching 30 in places.
Touching 30, it's like, wow. People are going to say that's unbelievable. Me personally, I still wore a hood, of course, and you did the same. I don't particularly like the bubbles rushing past my ears.
Yes.
I find it quite distracting, and just a thin hood.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
You were in dry suit as well.
No, that's right. And
I did switch to a wetsuit because for me that was warm.
Yeah, sure. But I think when we got there, different set of divers, different cave, different dive centre, and of course different place to run the land drills. I hadn't actually taught there much before.
You just dived it, right?
Dived it, yeah, absolutely. Doing a few tune-ups with people, that kind of stuff. So it was quite cool to figure out how to run a full cave program in a new location. We were quite fortunate there was an area nearby that we could use some trees and we could use some features.
Yeah, it's perfect. Works out perfectly, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But it was more the same kind of stuff. And again, when we finished it though, that was probably when the real work started, or the next round of work.
And the guys that we had for the full cave upgrade, because that's what we did in Spain, we didn't run an entire program from start to finish. We had people that were already at intro level. Were they all trained by you, except for?
Yes, I think we had so it was 4 people. 3 of them I'd seen before, and they'd all been for intro.
Yes,
before
with you,
and then one other had also been to Gozo, actually.
Great.
And that was actually on the one hand, that was a really cool thing, because you already knew the guys, right? And when we were doing a review, I think on day 1 of what they remembered from their cave training, because you already know them, it's much easier to tell people,
of course.
What they should be doing, what they should already know, let's say. So that kind of gives us a bit of a head start.
Yeah, you've already built the rapport with them, and that's something that a good instructor tries to do really early on anyway. You have to, I think.
Well, that course particularly I found really interesting in that you had divers that they had taken cave training, but because it had been a little bit of time since they dived in caves, the things that they didn't remember were very different from the divers that obviously just finished a 10-day program.
Definitely, I would say there's some rust there. What I would really like is all their essentials were great. That's what I've got to say straight away. So your training you did with them, obviously they remembered a lot, and the essentials stayed with them. Some of the cave knowledge or cave related things, yes, that was a bit, a bit less than I expected. However, it just made sense, because when we started, we're like, actually, we'll just do a recap now. So it was really nice to, rather than fully teach somebody something at a slower pace, let's say, because it's the first time they've seen it.
Yeah.
Because you're able to do it as more of a refresher or a recap. Those lessons, when I edit them back, they're brilliant to watch. So I was kind of thinking, which ones do I use for the cave series? Should I use the ones from Mexico? for you and me, or should I use the ones again from Spain? And in the end, they're all so unique in their own way.
Sure.
I'm using all of them.
Yeah, different.
So the people buying this are going to see that actually you get access to all this, because and you'll pick up a little bit of a different lesson each time, or the way it's presented, or the customer asks a student asks a certain different question that we answer, and it's brilliant.
I mean, you are right to say, what the diver upgrading needs to know is a bit different from what the diver that's brand new to it.
Yeah.
But you made an interesting observation that the essential skills, which, for me, if I think about them, it's a bit like riding a bike in the sense of once you can control your body, once you can control your fins, these are things that you don't really remember doing them. That's just how you are now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can.
Whereas
just do
a lot of the cave things, where do I stand? Where do I hold my line? What do I do at a tee? What do I do with my teammate? How do I do a primary tie-off?
Yeah.
I mean, they're very cerebral things, aren't they? They are literally things that have got procedures, that have got steps.
Yes, yeah.
And so I guess it does make sense that they would fade if you don't use them.
And that's a great point. It wasn't they couldn't use a reel. It was more so, exactly like you said, the positioning and what to do. That was kind of the bit they were questioning and not being fully sure, or they just didn't want to commit to saying, yeah, I know that I should be here. So it's interesting, that, isn't it? They took to it quite quickly, though, is what I would say. It was, which is what you would hope, actually. When you teach a full cave course for somebody that's going all the way through, there's definitely a transition from, the intro to the full cave part, but they don't have any form of rust, really, because it's just the next day, isn't it? Or the day after that.
Yeah, so I guess if I was going to ask you, what was easier, training the people from the ground up, or?
I'd probably say training people from the ground up was easier. However, some of the upgrade we did only was more enjoyable in ways, because there's less fatigue anyway from the instructor's training point of view. I mean, we were starting a full cave upgrade fresh, and if you do, the full course, you've already spent 5 to 6 days with somebody. So that can't be fresh. You've got 5 or 6 days of fatigue.
Yes.
Both for you teaching it, for them diving it. So it's quite a different approach, really. I can't give you a definitive answer on what's the better way to do it. I think both have equal merits to good and bad. Yeah. And I think you've just got to decide on, you as a student, what do you think would be better for you to learn? Like, are you the sort of person that can switch off for a 10-day window and just focus on something fully? Or have you got a lot of distractions in your life where you can only do 3 or 4 days at a time, before you've got other things you need to focus on again? And that kind of answers your question in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different dynamic as well when you're teaching the program. When you're starting from the ground up, it's more of a workout, because you're having to work, at one level, and it's changing. On the full cave side, you tend to be working more at this other level. You're not having so many changes as you go through it. Yeah. So it's probably, I found it a bit more focused. And when you're delivering information, you're not having to dumb as much of it down. You're not having to simplify it, because they've already covered a lot of that. Yeah,
the interesting thing would be is if we were to ask, I guess, all the people we trained, what they really recall at the end, like now, like a lot of time after, a half a year after, because do the people that did the full cave have a better retention than the people that did the intro, had a break, did the recap? I'm going to go out there and say I probably think the people who did the recap have a better, the upgrade, have a better retention of it, just because
they've had a top up.
They had it before, had a break, and because they had gaps and we targeted those gaps, it's like someone, when they point out things, you're getting it again, the bit you missed. So that it's kind of it compounds that knowledge, doesn't it?
That is part of learning theory. I mean, when you take various instructor training, we go into some of the sort of dynamics of the mental side of learning. And yes, this idea of repeating, having a break, repeating, having a break, you can actually, 10 times the amount of retention if you repeat it 2 or 3 times versus just saying it one time.
Yeah, so that's it. I'm not really worried in the future, because that's what this online series is going to do. It's going to give everybody the same fair, level playing field, and something that's never been done before, which is to have all this information after a course. I mean, I've always said, like, why do we need to give the same information over and over and over? And you said to me the other day, you said, well, you're only really as good as when you're presenting. So if I've had a lack of sleep for whatever reason, yes, I'll probably do a very good job anyway, because it's stuff that's not new to me, and I'm telling you, but I might miss certain things out or not be as effective in how I give that across to you. And I think what people really have to understand here is that this online series, it's not just my input or your input, it's a combination of them. It's all the years we've ever put into training. And it's not that, it's been quality checked by you and me over and over and over. And it's a distillation, is that the word, to distill, of all those things into one product that we've checked, and that's what they're watching. That's what we're giving you. So I can't do a better job than what's going to be in them videos. It's impossible.
No, that's right. You're right to say that it's you're taking basically 10, 15 years of cave diving, and you're taking the best edit, the best cut. Right. And I think that was why I found it was really good that we ran the program 4 times. And of course, yes, you could argue you've got the same thing and it's repeated. It was never actually the same thing.
No.
You know, the questions that came up were different. The problems or the challenges people had were different. You know, and therefore the responses, the lessons that you gave all changed. I mean, lines are straight and then they bend and what have you. That part didn't change, right? But how that information gets into the diver, and that is part of what I find the most enjoyable about teaching. You know, how are you going to connect with that person? How are you going to explain whatever is the thing, right? So, yeah, when you come back to making that as a product, the times that we maybe got something wrong or it didn't go well and we're going to repeat something, well, you get a chance to do that. When you go live on a course, sure, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to learn from it, but you can't take that course with you.
Quite right. It stops, doesn't it? You've just got your memory of it. That's all you've got.
And I think, so when you come back now, I mean, I have a lot of people that after courses, they will write to me or message me and say, well, look, you know, I'm all right with this, but can you just remind me how that part worked? Or what do we do if? And you know you covered it, but they can't find that information anywhere. It's not necessarily in a book. It's not necessarily in the stuff they read before.
And they didn't retain it. You know, that's okay. I mean, you're not going to retain absolutely everything. If a student did that, they could be a cave instructor like that, because that would, you know, you are giving them all the information. It's just, how much can you actually absorb?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, in a way, we're lucky because we basically go on a cave course every time we teach it. Right. And if you're doing that several times across the year, we're going to have a much better retention, aren't we? So I think the fact that you've got something where they can go back, and I think also for the people that were on the course, because it's their course, they're going to remember it when they see it played back on the video, right?
Of course.
That's me. That's my fins. I remember when that happened. And it's probably going to give them, I think, a stronger connection.
Well, we will actually be obviously giving access to those guys, because we promised that in the beginning. And actually, they've also promised for us to give feedback on that exact point you just made. So I think they're quite excited about when it actually does go fully live. I'm really looking forward to their feedback as well, because they're the perfect customers' feedback in a way. And then obviously we're going to have lots of feedback from everybody else who's going to purchase it. And what I've got to stress again to people is, please give us comments and let us know. We don't just want to hear we did a great job. We want to know what you'd like to see, if you thought there's anything missed, if we can improve anything, because for us, we don't see it actually as something that is finished and bye-bye. It's quite the opposite. It's something we want to really keep developing and growing based on what people think it needs. I mean, but I love it when people try and find holes in maybe how we do some of the land drills, and, oh, you didn't include that, or you missed that bit. Great, please tell me. I mean, I hope I didn't, or we didn't, but I like it. I like the challenge of it. I like the feedback.
But I think that is right, and I think that's the difference between saying we are, perfect, and that everything we do is, it's a big world. There's a lot of different experiences, a lot of different ways of doing things, and we'll talk later about what you might do in different caves and all the rest of it. So I think it's important to say that we're not setting out to tell other people that they're wrong and this is the only way of doing it. And if there's things that you want to hear more about, or things where you didn't quite understand why we did something, well, it's all education, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's really what we're talking about. So as you say, it's not a finished product in the sense of being complete with every possible thing that would ever, so anyway, that's one aspect of it. What I'd like to ask you is a little bit more about when the water work finished. Everyone's gone home, we've packed up, we arrived back home. What happened next for us? What did we need to do to get here, basically?
Oh, well, that was a massive undertaking, wasn't it? I mean, we were pretty shocked by how much video recording we had. There would have been, there's over 3,000 underwater clips that were shot. Then there's about 200 plus, I'll be wrong, 300 plus actually it was, land videos that were shot on a gimbal. So we've got very nice footage, of course, using microphones and audio kits like we have now. So again, great for that. Wow. And then, months and months of editing have gone into it. I mean, people will never really, editors might understand, but people will never really understand the amount of hours it's needed. And to make it, and we're also, I think with you and me, we've got a very high level of detail we want to do. And then because we don't want to release anything that's not quite right, it can take a long time to get something correct. I mean, something that sounds really easy, okay, making a primary connection, secondary connection, and a cave connection, well, that's just one video. There's 4 versions of that, with different locations we've taught, and between you and me, different ways we might teach it. And then they're just huge videos that one is like 30 minutes long, but it took days to put together because it's got overlays, it's got titles in there, it's got student problems, their questions. And of course, you're not just seeing somebody talk on land and run a reel and make this tie off here and this is how you wrap this. You're seeing it actually being done live in the water with video overlays and zooming in, zooming out, everything you can think of to be this fully rich multimedia lesson. So the editing, anyway, is a big thing. People who know us know what we do. So they're probably expecting big things.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably worth talking about the fact that the lessons, when they're being created, there's 3 or 4 main things that go into it, right? Typically, we started out in a classroom or a land setting where you're, introducing a subject, explaining why it's important. We're setting up like a cave scenario, what we call a land drill. So there's a briefing, an explanation, a demonstration on land.
Sure.
Students are practicing that. Then, of course, we're going into the water, and the students are then doing it for real.
Yep.
They might run into problems why they do that. We might demonstrate it. We might show a version of how we might do something.
This role model demonstration,
You're then going to have a debrief of that session.
Yeah.
You're going to have some questions and answers that go into that. So where you talk about showing this video of a primary, a secondary, and a cave connection, sure, they are 3 things, but to make a lesson around that, you have to add all those ingredients.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is particularly adding value, although it's probably taking the most time or a lot of time, if a diver has a question, what do I do if? Or, when I ran into this problem, what could I do? They didn't do it in the water, so we haven't got that on video in that moment. But we know that we ran into that on another course, or we ran into that on another time that we were diving.
Sure.
So we have a video library, that's got, 20, 30,000 clips in.
Yeah.
And so our job, one of the jobs to make that lesson really valuable, is to find something that connects with that question or that problem.
Absolutely. Predominantly, we use the videos from that direct training because it's all related, isn't it?
Sure.
But you're absolutely right. If we see there's a breakout part where it needs extra information or people can benefit from it, we've gone back hunting through the archive and getting them videos involved.
Well, it comes back to that point you've always talked about when people say, well, just imagine if this was to happen.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're able to actually show that.
Yeah, there's no imagining.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no imagining.
Yeah, and I think it started out with the pictures saying more than the words, but now we've got the video saying more than the picture, right?
Definitely,
seeing how that unfolds.
And just so we actually can show it to people, a little bit of a preview. I mean, one of the great things I thought that was done here that was quite new, actually. I mean, I always struggled to get a good result was the bit where you did a land workshop for people on zero visibility exit with air sharing through a restriction.
Okay.
And you got them on that table and you got behind them. I mean, that land drill done the way we did it, there'll be a little clip so people can see it, was brilliant, because we really got people performing very, very well. I would say the best I've had at those particular exercises in the water. You know, and I've had a lot of students go through that, some more natural than others, of course, but I've never seen somebody, you know, they sort of go to make a problem and then they're self-correcting live as they're going through that first time. So that was a pleasure to debrief a lot of the time. It was really well done, and I think that's down to, you know, how well the land drill was done and communicated to them.
Well, I think that's probably what I'm hoping really comes across, is that, you know, how you can actually run a cave course. You know, because I think the program, as we implemented it, wasn't just for the divers that went through the program. It's not just for divers that are looking to take cave training. It's for instructors to see, you know, how we ran it, give perhaps some ideas for them to implement something that they maybe think is interesting. And so I think that the number of different types of audience that this is going to work for.
Hopefully everybody's going to take to it, and we're not worried in the sense that, you know, well, you know, it's the way you instruct, you don't want to keep it to yourself and just make money from the people you train. Well, no, like we've done, we always said in the beginning, the goal is to improve our own customers first, and then if we can reach a much wider audience and help a lot of other people, students for sure, and other instructors to get better and raise that bar, of course we do. I mean, we are making a living as well from creating these materials, and all this stuff has let us get to this stage where we're growing and growing it. And we're going to talk more about how we are going to grow even further. I mean, I hope people get a lot of enjoyment from this series, and I think they will.
I think when you take that idea further and you say, well, if we now have this series, what's important for me is, you know, that there's actually going to be a measurable benefit for the divers.
Yeah.
And it's probably worth saying, you know, when we shot everything, if you could see all of this before your cave program, you know, what would you say is going to be the benefit for them? How would someone have a better course or a better outcome?
Yeah, a cave course, just to put some rough numbers in there, you know, you're paying upwards of $300 a day if we're talking just for a location like Mexico. That's what people are charging. You can look at all the different centers there. You can go online and see the rates. And you're not going to get a 1 or 2 day course. You're going to have a 5-day or a 10-day window. So you may as well times that 300 by that amount. And then you've got variables maybe of gas, and you've got logistic charges on top and other things. So it can actually be quite a substantial investment. If you're going to spend all that time and you don't have what we're about to offer you, and we're going to be offering that at a fraction of the price. I mean, the prices we're still deciding and how we're going to roll that out. But you know, even if it was something similar to 1 day of training for just to pull the figure out of the air, that 1 day that we're giving you, you're effectively getting something, in my opinion, is better than a full cave course. So if a full cave course is 10 times that price, you're getting something that's more valuable than 10 times the price. Why? Because once you've got access, you know, the renewal fees will be a lot less, of course, but each year you'll pay a renewal if you want to. But you've at least got 12 months of access where you can watch any of the content over and over and over. You can cement that into your brain. You can practice some of the drills and skills that we're telling you that will help you to have a cave course run really smoothly, no matter who you train with. You can't retain that level of information, you know, without this series, really. You just can't. It's not, you couldn't even go and assist someone, I would say, or do a cave course, understand it enough and do it. There's going to be nothing comparable to it. I can't really put it into words, but I think for someone at a cave level of any kind, you'd be crazy not to invest in it, because I mean, like we've always said, if someone really can prove why it wasn't worth the money for them, you know, we can look to refund you, because quite simply, I've always offered that with every training course we do, and I've never had to give money back yet. That's the reality. It just, it's our life's work. You have to understand that we've poured everything into this to make it as successful and useful. And we don't do it because we just want to make a quick buck. We do it because it's something about, it's an achievement, isn't it? In your life, you know, you go through things, you want to give people something that you can stand behind, be proud of, and, you know, and it stands the test of time. That's it. That's what we're creating.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you talk about it. It's a bit like when you, if you're going to write a book, you know, the effort that goes into that. It's a subject that you know well, and you deliver it, and you know, and obviously you hope it goes down well. But you know, you talked about the retention and how people, if they had access to the materials, could, you know, remember stuff, could go back and review it. But you know, there's a past, present, and future, right? So after your training, yes, you can go back and use it for retention. But I think that if you have to look at the preparation before the cave course.
Yeah.
This program, you're seeing divers, typical divers, already trained, already certified. And if you see the problems that they may have had, how they solved those problems, what they did, well, that's going to make you better prepared. That's going to make you realize that there are certain things that you'd be better off doing before your cave training.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about the cost of cave training. Well, if I'm going to invest that amount of money in my cave course, well, why wouldn't I spend 2 or 3 weeks going down to my lake, going down to my pool, and getting ready for that, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to maximize that investment. I'm going to travel halfway around the world, spend a week, you know, with a cave instructor.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me not to do my part of that.
And that's what people really need to take away from this. It isn't a magic switch. If you didn't do anything and you just turn up for a cave course, you are going to have a hard job. And it's not a hard job that's rewarding. I'm talking about the differences that you will do it. You might well pass the course with someone, you know that, but you won't feel great. Every day you'll be tired, and you know you'll get there, but the enjoyment of the process, I can just tell you from experience, it won't be there. Whereas if you've done studying before, got your essentials where they need to be, turned up for a cave course, having ready to learn all lessons a cave can take from you, which our online training will give you that, you are going to be like smiling from ear to ear by the time you finish your cave course, and it won't be this hard thing. And it almost makes you into, I don't want to say the word, but a bit of a natural, in the sense that when we say, oh, we had a natural that was really took to everything we taught them, you don't get many of them for any course actually. But this is definitely going to help you more towards that way of being, I think, because it's just going to make every day so much easier and better for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about it being easier, and of course that's true. But one of the things I think that's really different about cave training compared to, let's say, regular open water diving is the amount of mental capacity that you need when you're there.
Yeah.
The things you have to think about, the things you have to remember, and the various tasks that you have to perform. And so if you're overloaded already with your fundamentals, with your equipment, with your general diving skills, there's not much left over to be a cave diver. And you, like you said, you could pass the course, fine, you won't enjoy it, but the other thing is that you never really got to enjoy that cave. You never really got to be a cave diver. And the lessons that you learned, well, they got less room to go in because you're busy with everything else.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the investment, I'm talking about, well, how rounded are you as a cave diver by the time you finish that program?
Sure.
Because half of that time was spent elsewhere for you. You weren't in the cave, you weren't present on the training.
Yeah, it's a very good way to put it,
So, you know, for me, it's got benefits for all kinds of divers. The diver who's doesn't really know what cave diving is. They're maybe just interested in seeing what's involved if I signed up.
Yeah.
You have the diver who they want to go in the cave. They've seen it. They know what it is. They want to prepare themselves for that cave training. Then, of course, you've got people that just general knowledge. They want to refer to how to remind myself how to do something. What should I do if?
Yeah.
And then I think you have the instructors,
Definitely.
you know, who want to see what we do, Maybe they want to benchmark themselves against it so they can see the fact that we were really open about everything. We showed everything that we did. There was nothing hidden.
Nope.
Anyone can find out what it is that we do and how we did it. So, for me, you've got 4 minimum kind of styles of people that are interested in the materials. And so when you make it and you have all those things in mind, that's one of the reasons why the lesson's so hard to put together.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to appeal to everything, but not leave anything out. And no doubt we will be always looking at this and growing it, like I said as well, because there's just so much. It's interesting because we're even right now reviewing certain clips and making these sort of mini lessons from them. And after we finish this session together, we're independently going to review a lot of videos and then compile them and then sort of do extra voiceovers and make extra lessons from this as well. I mean, there's just it will probably never end. I mean, and if we're talking historic footage where things have happened over the years, we've got like you said, 30,000 video clips what we're drawing from. That it's just and then there's all the new stuff we will do in the future. I mean, it's exciting. It's a lot of work.
Sure.
I
mean, one thing that's interesting, we had our own ideas about what to include in the program, how we normally run a cave course, how we're going to film that and shoot that, of course. But since we've been getting information or questions from divers, if you think about the variety of things that they ask for, the things that they've run into, we're able now to create content that addresses questions that normally I would just reply to someone, send them an email, WhatsApp, whatever that's going to be. Whereas now we're going to use that to actually make, a lesson, not necessarily just for that one person, but that they've triggered it now. They're the ones that are enabling us to make more content.
Yeah, that's brilliant.